Hey folks, let's see if we are in the mix. So it looks like notifications have gone out, but I'm just looking at a loading screen right now. So I bet that's going to click into me talking about not seeing my screen clicking in, probably like in a moment or two. So we'll see how that pans out. Hold on here real quick. Bop 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 bop. I bet I'm live now. And there we go. It looks like I'm live now. And volume seems to be okay. Looks like I'm right. Checking. Volume seems to be okay. Looks like I'm right. Yeah, okay, that's good. Let's stop that noise before it drives us into insanity. I'm going to be yammering here for a few moments, so don't mind me. And my mouse is being fidgety again, as usual. Here, and then we're going to go to there, and we're going to copy paste. Copy pasta. All right, cool. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish online. And we're creating a new magic power resource for martial characters called Martial Powers. It's inspired by 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons and the structure, or not the structure, but the books from 4th edition where martial characters literally had powers called martial powers. There's like 3 books of them, but it's more of a 3rd edition Book of 9 Swords sort of approach to problem solving with the martial spellcaster divide. And that, if you aren't familiar, in 5th edition or in almost all editions of Dungeons and Dragons, there has always been this term called the caster martial divide. And basically what it states is that martial characters, for the most part, remain static. If there's going to be something like the main change that martial characters generally have as they gain a level is it's easier for them to hit stuff, and they get more hit points, so it's more difficult to kill them. And then once we got into like 3rd and 4th and 5th edition, Wizards really leaned into the idea after purchasing the IP. Of like a deck building sort of Magic the Gathering approach, that you have options that you can pick for your character, and every time you gain a level, you can pick new options. But spellcasters on top of that had options they could pick every day, and they had an entire resource spell slot structure that allows them to basically pick a selection of spells and then cast those spells multiple times in virtually any combination that you want. And it's become more and more free-form with each edition of the game. So here in 5th edition, there's like you can pick a slew of spells, and then you can burn your spellcasting resources to cast those spells as you please. And again, but martials don't have that at all. They just pretty much remain the same every level. So what the Martial Powers project here is doing is getting all spellcasters and martial characters onto the same resource, which is a mana pool, or like spell slots, and then to give all the martial characters, similar to spellcasters, a wide list of options that they could prepare and change over time to use their resource pool to trigger, so that they can customize more dynamically how they can work with the rest of the team. And that bridges the martial casting divide with, again, what we call Martial Powers. It's going to be publishing on the DMsGuild, where all my other work is published. That's my rant, so we can go ahead and get started. I'm on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. So you can catch me here as well in the future if you want to see my artwork, different links to projects that we're working on, notifications, coupons, stuff like that. If you're interested, tag along. Here on YouTube, I'm at Phil Kearney as well. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications. And as we work on the Martial Powers project today, you can click on the Patreon link here. That'll take you to the playtest document that we're working inside of right now, which looks like, if I can find the front end of this thing, let's grab this and 127 pages worth of playtest content. Freaking sweet. But yeah, you'll have read-only access to it, but we'll have access to it. So you can, we already have it built out through all 20 levels for each class, but right now we are going through the process of refining it so that it is compliant with the 2024 mechanics. And so if you caught yesterday's stream, and if you want to catch yesterday's stream, you can drop down here into the full playlist and see the most recent episode. Episode 151 was yesterday. Here's episode 152. We built out the core mechanics for the Barbarian. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Here, there you go. So we rebuilt the chassis of the Barbarian to use the power system and to get rid of the new class features that were not going to be needed because of how the power system works. We updated and corrected that. And now we're going into each of the subclasses to rebuild those to again, just to work with what exists inside of 2024 using that language. We're going to go through today the Barbarian, and then we'll get started on, we've been rebuilding the Fighter, and then the Monk, and then the Rogue, and then we'll go to the Ranger and the Paladin, and then we'll end with the Artificer, the Warlock, and then finally the Artificer. We'll recalibrate all the powers that are on our list. There's 178 of them currently. We don't need that one. What do we want? Blip, blip, blip. There you go. There's 178 powers currently for characters to pick from. Whenever you have a subclass, you get a set of class powers that are always prepared on top of the stack of powers that you acquire. Let's see. Yeah, so class level, max rank of power is half casting up through 5th level at 17th. The power die is like an inspiration, superiority, martial arts die. Starts with a D6, evolves to a D10, 8, and then ends at a D10 at 17th level. The number of powers that you can prepare also includes your weapon masteries, as well as you can choose feats. So you can choose things that require mana and things that don't require mana to buff out what resources your character makes use of. And we have short rest mana recovery, which is the same as the Monk. 1 mana per level, up to 20 at 20th level. But each class has ways of getting free mana or ways to exchange action economy to gain additional mana when they're doing things. So 20 mana per short rest is, by the time you get to 4th or 5th level, it's abundant. Assuming that if you ration it. And you can Nova through it if you want, but you would still, once your mana pool burns down to 0, you still have the ability to generate free mana or to like burn hit dice or like action, or like you can spend like Second Wind or other resources depending on which class you're using to recover mana between rests. So there's even though the martial points supply seems low, there's a lot of ways for you to cheat and triple that amount. But you have to portion it out in very small bites. So it keeps you from, you can Nova a little bit, but like at 5th level with only 5 mana, you can only Nova for like a round or two, and it's not going to be mega impactful. It's not going to disrupt your game. But they can make an impact in a fight like that. And then the character, since they burned out their pool, now they're going to have to exchange action economy or give up other class resources to recover mana more quickly before they can get to a rest. So in that sense, it has a really nice balance that you can either use mana or not use mana depending on how you want to build your character. So it can both be incredibly complicated in the type of action loops that you build for your character, or it can be incredibly simple where you forget all of that stuff and just grab some extra feats for free. So super useful stuff, very, very nice. And so let's go, so the next step on our list here is to start breaking down the subclasses. We've already gone through the 2014 version of each of the subclasses, but now that the 2024 book is official and available, we will now update for 2024 and make sure everything is compliant. We'll have a conversion to the martial power system for every subclass of the martials that are in here, and then we'll later be able to take all of these additional subclasses that didn't make the cut, we'll be able to build all of those out in separate splat books that we can use as coupons to reduce the cost of the martial powers book in general. And this will all be on the DMsGuild, and this itself will also be bundled with the rest with the color mana system that I built, because I was building this so that all characters in MTG settings, Magic the Gathering settings, can all use the same color mana resource system to express their characters' mechanics and action loops and how they help the team, while sticking to the narrative of the class that they chose. So we can have a Rakdos Barbarian that has red and black mana to do rage stuff. Or you could have like a multi-class Rakdos Barbarian Sorcerer who can mix rage with meta magic, but using all of the same mana pool of red and black mana to be able to create both spell effects, meta magic, and martial power effects during the course of combat, and mix those things together during a round of combat. So a lot of really fun options, and these are all free preview. I would direct your attention to the Spell Point Warlocks book with a sharp 4.5 out of 5 rating here as a pay what you want. It's a full read for free. Anyone that spends $1 or more on it contributes towards its growth as a bestseller. I believe if I get one more sale, it's a gold medal bestseller. But it's pay what you want, so you can never be 100% sure. But it looks like if I get one more sale, it'll become my first gold medal. So, boy, I would love to have that feather in my cap. So, if I earn your appreciation, pick that up. Pick up all my stuff, but definitely Spellpoint Warlock, so I can get that feather in my cap. And bless you if you're interested. So, but who cares? What do we have here for you, right? What's in it for you? The audience asks. Well, let's build our class. So we're going to step past the power list for now, and we'll look at what each of these things do later. But for now, we want to look at the features specifically. Here's the features that we had built out previously, and I'm not going to hyper-focus on them in the moment. What I am going to do instead is look at what exists in the here and now. So, channel rage into violent fury. Barbarians who walk the path of the berserker direct their rage primarily towards violence. Their path is one of untrammeled fury, and they thrill in the chaos of battle as they allow their rage to seize and empower them. Level 3, frenzy. If you use reckless attack, so let's start off by converting these things. Level 3. Frenzy. All right, how does it read now? If you use reckless attack while your rage is active, you deal extra damage on the first target you hit on your turn with a strength-based attack. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. The damage has the same type as the weapon or unarmed strike used for the attack. So that's really strong. Go frenzied berserker, man. Reckless attack, deal an extra. So it starts with a +2 and eventually evolves into a +4. And let's see, if you use reckless attack while your rage is active, you deal extra damage on the first target you hit on your turn with a strength-based attack. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. The damage has the same type. Okay, so you get one attack that has 2d6. And by the time you get to the 17th level, you'll have one attack that does 4d6. That 4d6 is up to 24 damage. I'm thinking about a power die conversion and simply making it while you're raging, and whenever you use reckless attack, you gain an extra power die worth of damage. It starts as a d6 at first level, and you only get an extra. You only have one attack, so it'd be an extra d6 unless you're using Nick. for instance, then you would have 2 attacks. But you don't get to add extra damage to it, so you'd still only be applying it once. That would only be a d6. But while raging and reckless attack, you'd also be able to apply it to your reactions as opportunity attacks. So you could theoretically have 1 or 2 power dice per round when you hit at 3rd level, but then at 5th level you get extra attack. So if we use that, let's see if there's a change to the ability as we stack. Like at 5th level, it'll still be 2d6. It'll become 3d6 at 6th level. Let's look at it. Here's our rage bonus. I see that they're attempting to work in the rage bonus, but I think it'd just be easier for us just to provide a blanket. A blanket plus 1 power die to damage with all attacks while you're raging. That paces with the ranger because the ranger has hunter's mark, or rather mark of prey is how we modified it, and mark of prey also automatically deals a power die of damage to a target. Well, it doesn't deal a power die, it triggers a strike effect, and you get 1 point of mana for free to trigger that, which translates into a power die of damage, but also allows you to trigger an effect, like trip something or push something or stun it or whatever it is that you're capable of doing at the level that you're at with your strikes. This would be just raw damage, which is actually similar to how the paladin works. The paladin can spend their bonus action to deal an extra power die of damage while they are smiting. This is once per round. Am I okay with that? It eventually becomes a d10 with 2 attacks and a reaction, which could be 2 or 3 attacks that you're dealing damage with. I think I'm okay with that. So I'm going to gank that. Let's see how it's written. Well, first off, let's double check up here. I'm fine with the end the charmed effect. I think that's great. Retaliation: when you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, you can take a reaction to make 1 melee attack against that creature using a weapon or an armed strike. That jives with what we have going on. Intimidating presence. As a bonus action, you can strike terror into others with your menacing presence and primal power. When you do so, each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you must make a wisdom saving throw, DC 8 plus your strength modifier. On a failed save, a creature has the frightened condition for 1 minute. At the end of each of the frightened creature's turns, the creature repeats the save, ending the effect. When you do so, each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you must make a wisdom saving throw. Each creature, there you go. And once you use it, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a use of your rage to restore your use of it, which is great. And that's apparently all we get from that class. Okay, cool. So the power die option is viable. So let's go with that. How does Frenzy read currently? Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy with your rage. For the duration of the rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns, including the turn you choose to rage. All right, so we're going to replace that. How do they word it? While your rage is active. If you use reckless attack while rage is active, you deal 1 extra power die of damage when you if the attack succeeds. If you hit an attack using reckless, if you hit with a reckless attack, if you hit using reckless attack while your rage feature is active, you deal 1 extra power die of damage. No limit on how many attacks, so however many attacks you can get into your character, you can go ahead and take advantage of that. That's great. And it starts off as a single D6 or potentially 3D6, depending on what kind of weapon properties you're using and what your action loop is, because you could have an attack, a bonus act. You could have an attack, a bonus action, and a reaction, so you could potentially have 3 attacks per round, all of which could hit, which would then allow you to do up to 3d6 damage. And then by 17th level, you have 2 attacks per round. You could potentially have a bonus action, and you could potentially have your reaction for a total of 4 attacks, each of which would be rolling a d10 to added damage before you start spiking the damage with your martial power investments. There we go. And it's just damage. It's not an actual strike power, so that's good. Let's check out, but I'm okay with that. So let's go level 6, mindless rage. You have immunity to charm and frighten conditions while your rage is active. I have to word it a little bit differently to be compliant. You are immune to the charmed and frightened conditions while rage is active. And if you are charmed, and if you are, got it. And if you're charmed or frightened when you begin raging, the conditions end. These conditions end. I see how they're wording that, and it makes a lot of sense to me. You are immune to the charmed and frightened conditions while your rage is active, and if you're charmed or frightened when you begin raging, the condition ends. The conditions end for you. Those conditions end for you. Okay, cool. So level 10, retaliation. I see those flipped. Those flipped. Level 13. Level 10 is now retaliation. So let's flip these scripts. There we go. Chip chop chirichu trum. Retaliation. When you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, you can take your reaction to make 1 melee attack against that creature using a weapon or an unarmed strike. When you take damage from a creature within reach of your melee weapon attack, you can use a reaction. You can make an opportunity attack against that creature. Simple enough. And then intimidating. Being at 10th level while raging, you can channel the intimidating strike power as though it is a combat mastery. Spending 0 mana. Channeling the strike this way deals no additional damage, but you can choose instead to channel the power with 1 or more mana, increasing damage as normal. Nope, don't. That we have so they've obviously rebuilt the class. So now it is. Do we have? Wave of Terror is a 4th rank power. Let's take a look at Wave of Terror. It's a maneuver. Wave of Terror. You can choose any number of creatures you can see within 60 feet to make a wisdom saving throw. Each creature that fails is frightened of you. The effect ends for a creature when it succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or it can no longer see you. And this reads as... It's a bonus action. You can strike terror into others with a menacing presence and primal power. When you do so, each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature has the frightened condition for 1 minute. At the end of each of the frightened creature's turns, the creature repeats the save, ending the effect on itself on a success. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again unless you burn a rage or long rest. Okay. Well, Wave of Terror literally does that for us already. And you gain it as a 17th level ability. But I'm hearing an echo on myself. Hold on real quick. Let me see if I can adjust my volume. There. That should be better. Okay, so Intimidating Presence is just Wave of Terror times 5, basically. Because instead of costing 4 points, it only costs you a rage. And by the time you get it, you get 5 rages per day. And you can spend a point of mana to get rage back anyway. So, it's hardly a difficulty. Which means we would not need Wave of Terror. Instead, it'll be X. Dire Impact makes sense. Rush Attack makes sense. Intimidating Strike makes sense. Overrun makes sense. Hypertunistic makes sense. Double Strike makes sense. Opportunist makes sense. Curse of Exposure makes sense. Frenzied Attack makes sense. There's a lot of stuff in here that makes a lot of sense. Okay, cool. So let's resolve Intimidating Presence. Is that what it's called? You can strike terror into others. When you do so, each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation. Emanation is a keyword. Object that is beginning unless it is instantaneous. Isn't included. In the area of effect unless its creator decides otherwise. An emanation origin isn't the origin isn't included in the area of effect unless its creator decides otherwise. Oh wow, that's interesting. Huh. As a bonus action, you can strike terror into others. When you do so, each creature of your choice, 30-foot emanation from you, must make a wisdom saving throw. I'm fine with this being a. You know what? Wave of Terror does make sense because it is a larger area. There you go. It's a larger area. I guess that just makes sense. I like that the emanation doesn't necessarily affect you. That's really cool. So at 14th level, we get it early. So Intimidating Presence. That's a timer for me. Thank you, kindly timer. How do I want to word this? Let's see. The bonus action. Is that how we do that now? As a bonus action, you can unleash a 30-foot emanation of dread. How do I word it? Each creature of my choice within the area must make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened for 1 minute. If they fail, how's that read? On a failed save, a creature has the frightened condition for 1 minute and can save make a save at the end of its turn to end the effect. Comma, ending the effect if it succeeds. Is that how that works? On a success. Each creature of your choice, each creature of your choice within the area must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature has the frightened condition for 1 minute and can make a save 1 minute period. It can make another save. It can make another save at the end of its turn, ending the effect on a success. At the end of each of its turns, you can make another save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. Cool, that's done. So, that wasn't so bad. Now we're going to go up in here and fish out. There, like that. And we'll grab these as well. My mouse is being super. What is going on with you, little mouse? Squeak, squeak, buddy. All right, what's the name of this stuff? Walk in the community with the animal world. Walk in community, weird. Animal speaker, sure. Animal speaker, Rage of the Wilds. Rage of the Wilds. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning in Seattle. It'll be 9 a.m. when I jump back online. But we're going to see if we can... How long have we been at this? 35 minutes? Okay, I've got another 20 some odd minutes, I guess, to be able to keep fleshing this out. So we'll get at least one more done. And then we'll probably finish the rest. Aspects of the Wilds. Aspect of the Wilds. Rage of the Wilds. Aspect of the Wilds. Wilds of the Wild. Nature Speaker speaks for animals. I wonder if we speak for all nature now instead of just animals. Nature Speaker. Maybe Unnatural Speaker. Now, Power of the Wilds. I'm seeing, I'm sensing a progression here. Power of the Wilds. Bleep. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's see what happens next. I'm all smack talking, but I love, as a designer, I love almost all of this stuff. This is all just really fun. So, Animal Speaker, you can cast the Beast Sense and speak with animals spells, but only as rituals. Wisdom is your spell casting ability for them. Huh. Beast Sense and well, let's check these out. Second level. For the duration, you can perceive through the beast's senses as well as your own. When perceiving through the beast's senses, you benefit from any special senses it has. I have an LeFou. I'm afraid I've been thinking it's a dangerous pastime. I know. That's third level, huh? Beast sense. Ritual. For the duration, you can comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts, and you can use any of the influence options with them. Most beasts have little to say about topics that don't pertain to survival or companionship, but at minimum, a beast can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including whatever it has perceived in the last day. I have ideas. Beast sense and speak with animals. Cool. Animal speaker. Let's see. How do I want to word this? The beast sense and speak with animals spells are both considered are both first rank sustained powers for you. You can channel the beast sense, or you can channel the beast sense or speak with animal spells as first rank sustained powers. Or you can cast them as rituals. Is that a capitalized word now? Okay, this is huge. So the channel feature is what we do to, instead of spellcasting, we channel. It doesn't require any material components, verbal components, somatic components, hands-free, none of that shit. It's just, I spend the mana, it happens. A sustained power is something that you can turn and leave on all day. Like it takes a first rank power costs 1 point of mana. You basically tap a point of mana. That aura or effect turns on and it stays on until you become incapacitated or it becomes dispelled. And so Beast Sense, first level sustained power. That means that you can basically have a pet or any animal really, blip it, sustain the power, and now you are able to use the sense through it for however long you want to keep it on. It's perpetual. If you have a bunch of auras that are active already that have filled up all your sustain slots, you still have the option to cast them as rituals. So I like that a lot. This is a great example of where we can blend between spell casting and the power channeling feature in very limited circumstances. But a ranger beastmaster would really benefit from a 3-level dip into berserker to gain access to this shit. It's worth considering. I don't know if that's as good as gaining an extra die of damage with every attack, so let's see what Rage of the Wilds does. Ooh, neat. Your rage taps into the primal power of animals. Whenever you activate your rage, you gain one of the following options of your choice. You gain one of the following options of your choice. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change this choice. You have dark vision, you have climb speed, you have a swim speed, and then you can cast the commune with nature spell, but only as a ritual, which I'm fine with that. When you take damage from a nature speaker, using your channeling ability score. The wording has changed. They've changed just how things are coded a little bit. Their natural language has perhaps become even more natural than before. It's unnatural how natural this language is becoming. I fear unnatural presence. Aspects of the wild. Okay. Let's see. Third level, Rage of the Wild. That is going to be your rage taps into the primal powers of animals. Whenever you activate your rage, you gain one of the following options of your choice. When you activate your rage feature, you gain one of the 3 options listed below. Bear. Huh. While your rage is active, you have resistance. That's capitalized. Yep. Every type of damage except force, psychic, necrotic, psychic, or radiant. Excuse me. Period. Bear, eagle. Wow, that's really good. When you activate your rage feature, you can and as a bonus action on following turns, you can take both the dash and disengage action. When you activate your rage feature, and as a bonus action on following turns, you can take both the dash and disengage action together. And then, wolf. That's a really great feature, by the way. You didn't know. That's pretty good. While your rage is active, your allies have advantage on attack rolls against an enemy of yours. Wow, that's really good too. We should be able to finish this, and then we'll do the other two subclasses and get into fighter tomorrow. While your rage is active, your allies have... Does it have or gain? Yeah. Have advantage against your enemies allies have advantage on attack rolls against your enemies within 5 feet of you. Period. Any enemy of yours within 5 feet of you. While your rage is active, your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any enemy of yours within 5 feet. Against enemies of yours within 5 feet of you. There we go. Good. And then level 6, Aspect of the Wilds. Let's see how that goes. You gain one of the following options of your choice. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change your choice. That stuff is useful. Hey, what is up, Fred? It's good to see you, my guy. I have been working on this martial powers system for 100 some odd episodes. We're at episode 152 right now. We've been building out martial powers as a 3rd edition concept that basically granted an alternate magic system to martial characters. And one of the biggest problems in D&D traditionally is the power disparity between martials and spellcasters. So we have developed a non-spellcasting magic system that uses half-casting progression from 1 to 5, from level 1 to 17, to provide alternate mana cost item options for characters to acquire. So we're building the Barbarian right now. We've been playtesting this for 2014, but now that 2024 is out, we're building out the new character builds. So you have your rages, your rage bonus. There's a power die, which is like a maneuvers die / bardic inspiration / martial arts die that scales with levels. The maximum rank of power that you can channel with your level. It starts with 1 at 1st level and scales up to 5th rank of power at 17. That's also the amount of mana that you can spend at a time to channel into a power that you are using. The total number of powers that you can prepare. These powers include not only the magical effects that you can trigger, but it also includes weapon masteries that you can learn, as well as feats that your character can have. The trade-off there is that the feats don't have any prerequisites other than I prepare it as a power, but you don't gain any stat bonuses from it either. And the list that you can choose from is it's a curated list of 40 feats from the player's handbook, and it does not include any of the epic boons. And then the amount of mana that your character gets based on level is a short rest mechanic like a monk. You start with 1 at 1st level, and it scales to 20 mana at 20th level. And there's all sorts of different options and little tidbits in here that grant you additional mana. So you have a real hard cap, like on how much you can burst, like how much Nova you can do as a martial character. But you have so much free mana coming your way that you can basically spam stuff all day, whether you take a short rest or not. So like some of the things that you can do, empowered maneuvers is when I take the attack action, however many attacks I have, if I sacrifice them, I get 1 free point of mana for each attack that I could then use as a bonus action for like a maneuver or a different type of spell effect, like magical effect. Another thing is empowered attacks at 5th level. When I get a 2nd attack, if I hit with my 1st attack, I can give up my 2nd attack, and instead I get free mana to use a strike power to basically stack on extra damage. And at 9th level, when we get brutal, instead of brutal strikes, basically if we forego the advantages that we would get while making a reckless attack, we gain a free point of mana to be able to channel with a strike power when we're hitting. And at 17th level, it becomes 2 mana that we gain for free. So like every time you're using, you can like trade your action economy or trade your advantage away for free mana to essentially cast spells for free when you hit something. So that's kind of how it works. And then you get a stack of bonus powers on top of it, a total of 10 as you gain different levels. So you can use this to grab up a bunch of, and this document is free for anybody to look at, by the way. If you just look at the Martial Powers playtest document here, you don't have to be a member of my Patreon. That's just where I have the link to it. But like, here's all the feats. So like at 1st level, you have 5 powers. If you wanted to have just 5 feats, you can pick out 5 feats from this list and potentially never have to pick another feat again, because you front loaded it by preparing all of them. And now all the ASIs that you get at 4, 8, 12, 16, whatever, you can use those to actually increase your stats with 2 for 1, because you don't have to pick up these feats along the way. You're not sacrificing anything like a spellcaster wouldn't have to sacrifice their ASI if they didn't want to. They could just a wizard could just stack their intelligence to 20 as fast as possible. You can do that now too. And then the combat masteries if you're proficient with a weapon, if you're a martial character, if you're proficient with a weapon, you automatically know how to use the masteries. But then it's so like each weapon has a single mastery that you can use with the weapon. But you can also repair masteries. So if I like Cleave, it's a melee weapon only, but if I like Cleave, if I hit somebody, I can then make another attack and I don't get any bonuses, but I can still make a die roll of damage against them. I can now use that. I can prepare that as like a power, almost like a cantrip effect. So anytime I hit somebody with a melee weapon, if I know Cleave, I can choose to use that to blip through that attack and hit somebody else as well. The caveat is I can't use masteries and strike powers at the same time. It's like a paladin using a smite spell. The paladin can't use the smite spell and a weapon mastery at the same time, unless you're specifically using the martial strike. And a martial strike, the way that it works, because we have 26 some odd different strike powers. So the martial strike specifically deals extra damage based on the amount of mana that you spend and has no effect, but you can choose a mastery that you know or that the weapon has. So if I use martial strike and like say put 4 mana into it, I can do an extra 4 dice of damage on the guy I hit. And then I could then choose to use a mastery I know, or like say that weapon has Cleave, I could then follow through that attack and hit the next guy as well. And if I hit with that next attack, I could then channel mana again into more damage, but I'm gonna have to burn a shitload of mana to do all that, at least 1 up to potentially 5. So you can Nova through characters really quickly this way. And once you burn out all of your mana pool, now it's like, well, I have to give up an attack to get free mana to do a thing. Or like I have to give up my advantage as a barbarian to gain a free point of mana, or eventually 2 points of mana to like follow through like a grappling strike or a martial strike, or like at second rank with 2 mana, like a dazing strike. So if they want to move, they have to use their action or bonus action. Life Stealing Strike gives me temporary hit points equal to the bonus damage I deal with the mana I burn. So a lot of neat stuff inside of here. And there's like sustained effects, which are like auras you can turn on. So, and you turn them on, they stay on until you become incapacitated or they get dispelled. So it's a lot of like low power for their level, but lots of stuff that you can stack and spam on top of each other to either use mana with these effects or just get a ton of weapon masteries to use at will, and feats that you want, and not use your mana at all. Instead, just prepare all these like cantrip-like effects that you can just use over and over and over again, like a feat. Sentinel, you can just use Sentinel until, you know, whenever it qualifies. So each of the classes, Barbarian, Fighter, Rogue, Ranger, Paladin, as well as some options for Warlock and for Artificer are inside of this book. And it's designed to be a universal spell point type system, but it also happens to work with the color mana system that I built. So if you're a Magic the Gathering enthusiast and like you want to play, like say a Gruul Barbarian using red and green mana to be an eco-terrorist in the world of Ravnica, then you could build a Barbarian. Then all his mana is going to be red and green, and now you're role-playing a Gruul Barbarian that's wielding Gruul magic to empower your barbaric rage to do all these horrible things to people and tear down buildings and stuff, and you know, as the Gruul do. So that's the idea. This is the book that allows all 13 classes in Dungeons and Dragons to use the same mana resource for their class, with the intent of, if you're playing Magic the Gathering, that mana can be the color that you want for the type of character you want to portray, and then you just burn it as you would spend. You would either burn or tap mana to be able to create effects or sustain powers. So that's the idea behind it. So right now we're going through, now that we have access to the 2024 book here on D&D Beyond, we can go in, look at what all the powers are, what all the abilities and features it is that you get from your class and subclasses, and then build a solution so that you can, when I scroll back down here, so that we have all the mechanics that are in the classes work with the mana system that we built, and allow you to like you can use this once per day, or you could spend 2 mana and gain another use of it, for instance. stuff like that. So we've been at it for quite some time. We've play tested it. I play tested the alpha version with my home table from level 16 to 20. And then once we started rebuilding the document, I've farmed it out to some of my Discord community. We've had play testing at level 3, 4, 5, and 6, about 16 episodes, 16 sessions worth of it. And we've had a lot of improvements and reiterations of different powers and action loops and features that classes get as a result of it. So it's becoming a much better machine. But now that 2024 is out, we need to recalibrate to make sure everything jives with it. The great thing is that everything about this system is better expressed in 2024 than 2014. Because in 2014, we were having to make up a bunch of stuff that like increased the power level of the marshals along with giving them more resources. But all those things that we improved that were like upgrades in 2014, it's just rewording in 2024. Like brutal strikes, you gain extra damage and you can do effects with those attacks. And in our system, that's just you can just use these strike, like if you know a strike power, you can use it for free. Pick as many as you want. You'll have 27 to pick from. And you'll at 20th level, you'll have 27 things that you can learn. So like there's a ton of flexibility to build the exact kind of character that you want. And depending on which subclass you get a whole bunch of free powers that complement the subclass that you picked. So and again, these are all listed in the book, and the book is free to read by anybody that checks out the link on my Patreon here down below. And once it goes live on the DMsGuild, you'll be able to read through it. But we're building all the mechanics here. I'm playtesting on my Discord community. Once we get the book figured out and I have an editor to go through it, we'll come back and we'll paint all the artwork onto it on screen, like we do with all the other stuff that I do during my channel. So that's what we do. We build books, we illustrate them, and then we publish them. And when people dig what I'm doing, they can watch the entire process. They can play test it with me, and then they can come back and like in streams like this, they can make suggestions of like what the artwork might be. Like remember that bagpipe werewolf barbarian I made at that level 4? That would fit perfectly here. It's like, hey, yeah, that's a great idea. It's like in the future when I do Kickstarter projects and stuff like that, folks that are in the community can jump online with me while we're building the thing, and they can be part of the art directors that help make the artwork that'll go into the book. So a lot of fun stuff. So it's a lot of building, it's a lot of reiteration, it's a lot of grinding through stuff. But anyone that's checked out any of my other books that are on the DMsGuild, hopefully you'll see that you'll like the cut of my jib, and you like the type of quality that I produce, and you'll be people will be interested in supporting this one as well. So basically, I make all my books free on DMsGuild. I make everything free to read. And basically, you can look at the book. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But if you do like it, I ask that people buy it, because every time someone buys a book, it's basically saying, "I like your work, make more." Like I like so much of what you built that I read for free. I was willing to give you money just to incentivize you to go make more books. And so every time I make a new book, people give me more money to incentivize me making the next book, and that's kind of what propels me through making book after book after book, which will eventually be able to convert into successfully building a Kickstarter campaign and then feeding the Kickstarter into the next Kickstarter. And eventually maybe I'll be able to build up enough momentum that I can quit the day job and just work Kickstarter projects with folks online moving forward. But that's my dream. So we'll see if it ends up manifesting or not. And if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, no hate, no hurt. I do this because I have to. I love doing it. I'll never stop. So, aspects of the wild. You gain one of the following options of your choice. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change your choice. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Aspects of the wild. While your rage is active, you... Oh wait, that's not it. Yeah, that was a long-winded answer, huh, buddy? Choose one of the following features. One of the following options. You can change it. When you finish a long rest. Oh, we were talking about The Witcher earlier, we were talking about the Blood Hunter. Like I'd gone through and I took all the different stuff that a Blood Hunter can do, all the rites and rituals and all the things, and I converted them all into these different powers, like the werewolf, like the lycanthrope thing. Basically, instead of being a lycanthrope witcher, you could be like a paladin or a ranger, or like even a rogue. I mean, any of them, like a barbarian, a barbarian lycanthrope, for example. The lycanthropy sustained power. It only requires 1 mana. You spend 1 mana, you turn it on, and it stays on all day. And the way that it reads is, while sustaining this power, you can shift form into a lycanthrope creature. Your appearance changes to adopt features of a creature of your choice, such as fur or scales, and a beak, claw, fangs, tail, etc. And you gain the below benefits, and you gain the following benefits. You have heightened senses, which is you gain advantage on wisdom, perception, and investigation checks. Feral Might is you gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws. Natural weapons, you gain unarmed attacks that deal 1 power die of damage, plus your strength or dexterity modifier that deals either bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage, your choice when you channel the power. So those, the appearance, the heightened senses, the heightened strength, and the natural weapons, it basically makes you like a budget werewolf, or like a budget swamp thing, right? And you can just turn this thing on as basically a 1 mana sustained power. You can sustain 1 mana worth of powers at first level. So starting at first level, you can say, yeah, I'm a werewolf character. I'm a barbarian werewolf. That means that the Feral Might becomes redundant while you're raging, sure. But otherwise, I am a werewolf. I am a 7-foot medium, like cap of medium-sized werewolf. I have my claws. I can hunt you by scent. I can bash through doors with my Feral Might, and I can deal bite damage or slashing damage with claws. But you are, for all intents and purposes, a were creature in that sense, except that you can be harmed by silver. So neat stuff. Like that was one of the Blood Hunter things. Like another Blood Hunter thing that they had, like for example, Curse of the Fallen Puppet is a pretty famous one, and that one is a reaction power that we built. And it is, here it is. It's a 2nd rank power, so you gain it at 5th level. It costs 2 mana. There are ways to reduce the cost. And Curse of the Fallen Puppet, as a reaction to when a creature you can see drops to 0 hit points. And the generic range for this is like within 60 feet. Like everything basically has a 60-foot range unless it says otherwise. So when you see a creature drop to 0 hit points, you can command the creature to move up to half its speed and make a melee attack against a creature you can see. There you go. And then I should probably write, after this, the creature falls. After this, the creature dies as normal. We'll put that in there and we'll figure it out later. That's why I hire an editor, to make sure shit works. We also have other things like Curse of Exposure. That was a Blood Hunter right as well, and it reads, as a reaction to when you see a creature within range taking damage, if it has resistance, it loses that property. Alternatively, if the creature is immune to the damage, it instead only has resistance. The effect ends immediately after the creature takes damage. Oh, that's how I should read that. This effect... That's what I need to do for Curse of the Fallen Puppet. This effect ends immediately after the creature after the creature attacks. Or yeah, after the creature attacks. Period. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, that's how we dealt with it. So if you want to play a Blood Hunter Paladin, you just take the Paladin class, and then you just take all these powers and just add them into your chassis of things that you can do as a Paladin. So the Blood Hunter becomes like a kit like a magic kit that you can add to your subclass in your class if you want, instead of being its own class. So that's the idea that goes on behind that. Since we were talking about it over on Casual Fridays on Verdigree's channel, I like Verdigree games, man. I really like Ryan. He's a cool guy. And we will finish up here. We'll just finish the Path of the Wild Heart, and then tomorrow morning when we come back, we'll finish. We'll build World Tree, and then we'll rebuild the Zealot, and then from there we'll skip the rest of these subclasses for now and put them in a separate book. But then we'll get into the rebuilding of the fighter, and we'll just keep going through the book from there. This should all be rebuilt sometime in October, and we'll resume playtesting probably at the beginning of November at 3rd level. I'll just make a mega dungeon, and we'll just crawl through it using abilities, spending mana on boosting ability checks, and killing creatures, just mobbing through things in just an old school dungeon crawl just to shred shit. And that'll be a lot of fun. So, hey, how you doing, Dims? Dims, Squigs, go crazy. Dims, Squigs, go crazy. How you doing, my guy? Glad to have you here. Thanks. We're currently rebuilding the Path of the Wild Heart to work with the martial power system. So, let's see. Choose one of the following options. You can change your choice when you finish a long rest. Ow. So, let's just keep going through the effect. And we'll finish this up, and then we'll bounce for the day. And we'll come back tomorrow morning. That's a period. Al equals. You have dark vision with a dark vision with a range of 60. Is range capitalized now? Nope. With a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, the range increases by 60 feet, period. Hey, what's up? Pretty good. How about me? I'm having a great day, man. I'm designing. I get to do Magic the Gathering creature mana designs. I am on cloud 9. This is what I love to do. Panther. Let's make that bold. So I'm here 10 times per week. In the mornings, Monday through Friday, I do artwork for whatever book is going to publish next. Right now, it's an Eberron adventure. And then Tuesday, Friday lunches like this. Monday and Thursday nights like last night. And then Saturday mornings like tomorrow, we do design work. And right now, all my design work is around the Magic the Gathering D&D conversion project, updating the core mechanics, updating Spellpoint Sorcerers, getting Spellpoint Sorcerers published, updating Spellpoint Warlocks for 2024, getting Spellpoint Artificers published, the Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters book, getting that one updated, the core mechanics, the subclasses, the revised spell list. That's all going to take me on these lunch and night streams. It'll probably take me, I'm going to guess I'm going to be rebuilding rules until probably January, and then during that process I'll see if I have to make new artwork to fit on the pages that are being rebuilt. But all this stuff is on the DMsGuild, and there's links to it all in my description down below if you want to check it out. So hey, what's up? Yeah, it is. I've been making my first one shot. Nice. What creatures are you doing right now? What? Heart. Sorry. I don't see good, and the text is being blocked by a giant heart. I fucking hate that heart. What creatures are you doing right now? In Eberron, I'm doing villagers, different NPCs that are in the village that the adventure starts in for the players to ask about rumors and stuff. So I'm building tokens for them, but I've built like wights and ghouls and all sorts of different like imps and all sorts of different critters that are in the adventure with the necromancers and the undead that are there. You have a climb speed equal to your speed. You have a climb. Is speed capitalized now? Yes, it is. Climb speed equal to your base movement equal to your speed period. And then salmon, the mighty salmon warrior. You have a swim speed equal to your speed, period. Okay, and that's all there is for 6. We already have Natural Speaker. You can cast a Commune with Nature spell as a ritual using a channeling ability score, and then Power of the Wilds as a bonus action. What is Power of Wilds? Whenever you activate your rage, you gain one of the following options of your choice. Okay. You activate your rage feature, you gain one of the following options. What was the wording up by third? I see some text going on there. I'll catch up with you in a second. There we go. You gain one of the 3 options listed below. What's up? Yeah, this is the Barbarian, the 2024 Barbarian. So we have this whole doc. If you're curious, this entire document is here in the Martial Powers playtest content. You do not need to be a member of my Patreon to access it. This is the YouTube stream here, right here, right now. Hey guys. But if you click this button, it takes you to the document that we're working on. For you, it'll be read only. So you can see down through here, the base chassis that we're using for the power system, how powers work, terminology, caveats, limitations, and then the actual list of powers, powers that require mana, meta powers that are like cantrips that don't require mana, and then individual class features, starting with the Barbarian. Sorry, you can gain feats and damage types and stuff like that. Power characters, there you go. Barbarian is the first, so we build the Barbarian scaffold, get rid of the features that are no longer necessary, add in the new features that are needed, and revise the features that are changed. So things that don't change are not are not placed here. Things that are removed are not present on the list. Things that are not changed are on the class feature list but are not published. Things that are modified or new are both listed in the features list and are detailed below. And then once we get through the changes, then we get into the subclasses. We've already rebuilt Path of the Berserker using 2024 mechanics. We're now finishing up the Wild Heart. Tomorrow morning, when we're back in stream, we'll do Path of the World Trees, and we'll do Path of the Zealot. Yeah. I've been building content on DMsGuild. Like the first book that I published on DMsGuild in 2017 was the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule Core Mechanics book. And I've been adding, it's up to 6 books now, and this will be the 7th book. And now I'm rebuilding all those books because of 2024. So yeah, I've been around for a while. I've been DMing Dungeons and Dragons since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since I can close this. There you go. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been designing books on DMsGuild since 2017. So I do all of it. I design a book, I play test it on my Discord with my participants there, and then we do page layouts, and then we illustrate the book here. We do all this on stream, except for the playtesting. I don't playtest on stream, but we design the book, we do layouts, we do the artwork, and then I publish it. And you get to watch the entire process to see like what does it take to build a 60,000 word tabletop RPG document like this, and that's kind of what I do. So. There you go. So let me finish this out, and I'll bail out for the day, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning to play some more. So this is where I need to be. We are super close to done for the day. So let me just go ahead and finish this out, and I got a kick. So I gotta finish up my day. While your rates, there we go. I'm just gonna steal this stuff for the most part. It's not stealing. It's just creativity. While your rage feature is active, you gain a fly speed equal to your speed. I think that's how that goes. If you're not wearing Falcon, Lion, period, blip. While your rage feature is active, you what? Any enemies have disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you or another barbarian who has this option active. Holy Hannah, that's crazy. While your rage feature is active, enemies, what, within 5 feet? Within 5 feet of you are at have disadvantage of you have disadvantage to attack rolls targeting creatures other than you or other barbarians using this feature. Period. And then the last one is Ram. While your rage is active, you can cause a large or small creature to have the prone condition when you hit it with a melee attack. Nice. While your rage feature is active, enemies you hit with a melee attack enemies you hit with a melee attack. Enemies that are size large or smaller that you hit with a melee attack become prone. They've changed the wording in 2024 natural language, so I'm relearning it as we go. Have the prone condition. Don't become prone. Have the prone condition. When you rage feature is active, enemies that you hit with a melee attack that are size large or smaller have the prone condition. When your rage feature is active, enemies that you hit with a melee attack that are size large or small. Enemies, I need to reword that. Enemies that are, I see why they have it ordered that way, because enemies, in the description of enemies that are size large or smaller that you hit with a melee attack have them prone. There you go. So that actually makes sense. I understand why they're using that language. Well, okay, that's taken care of. Not bad. So that's all the design work we're doing for lunch today, but I'm going to be back for about 3 hours tomorrow morning from Seattle time, 9 till 12. On the East Coast, that'll be noon till 3. We're going to finish the world tree. We're going to rebuild the zealots, and then we're going to skip past the rest of the barbarian features. We'll get into the fighter, and if we can get through the fighter, we'll start in on the monk and the rogue. Let me catch one text real quick. Yep. So far, so good. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a learning process. So, but that's going to be it for now. Anyone that's interested in this stuff, like, subscribe, bell icon, jump into my Discord if you're interested in playtesting. We'll be firing that up again at the end of October, early November, with just like with a mega dungeon with just monsters and treasure and shit like that, for us to go through and just beat stuff up and hunt for shit, burning mana along the way. We'll start at 3rd level and we'll go to 10th level. That'll take us like November for 3rd and 4th, and like December probably into January for 5th and 6th. February for 7th and 8th, and then March for up to 10th level. And at that point, I'll be pretty content with the system as it sits. So expecting through March to finish up all the testing here. That'll give me time to build out all the other color mana books along the way. And then once we get to the end of that March and we get everything locked down, that's when I'll be able to hire an editor to comb through and make sure it all smells good, and then pass it back to me for me to start layouts and painting the book inside the stream here. So that's the process. That's what we're going through. That probably means this thing will publish. I reckon this thing will probably publish in June or July next year. That feels about right, give or take a month. So, yeah. My stuff has a long pipeline because I do it all myself, except for the editing. I do it all myself. I have to do iterations. You have to play test stuff. And then, of course, I do all the artwork, which also takes a shitload of time. But it's a road. We're going on a journey. It's finishing the book isn't the joy. It's the fact that we can produce books. That is the joy. Every book that we finish is just another feather in our cap and reason for us to... It's just getting better. So when I finish this book, I'll be even better at building the next book. And the Eberron adventure, like the Spelljammer conversion that I did for Light as Araxis using my fleet mechanics and exploration system, I started to learn how to build adventures through Light as Araxis that way. And now I'm tackling an entire Eberron adventure. And I've got another 2 that I'm thinking about after that. So we just have a pipeline of content that we're producing, and as we finish it, we just get stronger with each book. My art skills get better, my design skills get stronger, my layout skills improve. Everything just gets better with every book that we build, and it's really fun to be able to share that process with folks. So, all right. How much does the book be? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it'll probably be like $15 on its own, but if you bundle it with my other stuff, it'll probably be like 12 or 10, something like that. So I put a price tag on a book, but then I immediately bundle it with other books, so that it becomes less expensive. I'll point this out, and then I'll be done for the day. Like if we go down to the color mana system that I have here on the DMsGuild, this is a bunch of books. The core mechanics is listed for $13, and I sell it for $10. And it's 75 pages. Yeah, 75 pages. So, and you can see the full book here. I make my books available for free to people to view, but like all the mana tokens and like the mana play sheets and all the stuff that you need to make the characters go are in a zip file that you get when you buy it. You don't need it, but basically, if I make my books free to read, you can see what it is. And when people buy them, it's basically saying, Phil, we want you to make more books so we can see more stuff. So, but yeah, color mana system here, and like how the classes work, all the artwork that I put into them, how bards work, cleric changes. It's just and I'm going to rebuild this entire book using because I've been using this system for 7 years now in my home campaign. So it's due for an upgrade, and I can also glam up the artwork, and my layout skills have improved as well. So there's just a ton of stuff that we can improve about this book, and I'm really looking forward to it. So navigation bar here. Here's the mana play sheet at the end of the book. I have a better flow chart now that we can provide. Here's the table of contents button that takes you back to the TOC. Sources of magic, like different types of magic paradigms you can use. Also, anyway, you can check all this stuff out. But that I gotta bounce. I'm late to getting back to work, so I gotta go, and I will be back tomorrow morning. So thanks a lot for anyone that's interested, and I'll see you all on the other side. Only, yeah, something like that. Well, I mean, it's buy more books. Yeah, we'll get to where we need to be eventually. I don't do it necessarily for the money, but I need to make things. I need to earn enough for me to feel good about having put in the amount of work. But I also look at the very, very long game. Like all these books are just advertisements for when I eventually start doing Kickstarters. It's like, see all that other shit that I've done? I'm going to do that, but with this idea instead. And if you want to back me on it, great. I haven't started doing Kickstarters yet, but I'll get there. And I'm still building my audience here on YouTube, and it's a journey. It's a long journey, and I'm not. It's not a race for me. I have to build it slow and steady so that I can maintain who I am and the way that I interact with people, and retain the joy of production, and not make it a business, so that I still love doing it, but it can still provide for me at the same time. So that's a real tightrope walk that I'm still figuring out. So cautious, slow steps, keep balance, retain the breath, and we just keep moving forward slowly to whatever destiny it is that the fates and the muses have built for me. So with that I will go for now, and I will see you all tomorrow morning. Later, Gators.